Hello, my name is Joji Morishita, Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to make a short presentation at NAMMCO Conference and Showcase Marine Mammals, a Sustainable Food Resource. I would like to apologize for not able to join the event because of conflicts with other commitments. However, I'd like to make a presentation about marine mammals, food or icon. We all know that there are conflicting views, tension as to marine mammals. Marine mammals are symbolized in different ways, in different countries, in different nations. Some nations and peoples regard marine mammals as marine living resources that can be utilized as food. Others see marine mammals as a symbol or icon of environmental protection that should be totally protected. But why these differences? The division is related to the different views regarding marine mammals, different ways to see the world and nature, and different relationship between humans and animals. One of the main questions to ask is the whaling issue really an environmental issue? The whaling issue is often seen as a symbol of environmental protection, and there is widely propagated negative image that whaling and any utilization of marine mammal is destructive to the environment and marine ecosystem. However, is whaling that does not adversely affect the resource under strict catch limits environmentally destructive? It is possible to take whales of abundant species within their reproductive range and with sufficient margin of safety from the standpoint of science. And also regulatory compliance and monitoring and enforcement can be adopted. However, there is a view that whales or all marine mammals are special animals that should be protected under any circumstances. The idea that certain animals are considered special is based on the concept of charismatic animals or iconic animals. Under this concept, there are arbitrary exceptions in the application of a principle of sustainable use, and even if there is no consensus on the exceptions, the majority of those who has more power will force their way of thinking on others. Whaling is a case in point, and more worrisome, it is not the only case. Therefore, the whaling issue is important in considering the relationship between humans and animals, and its future development about this concept may affect a variety of issues, including food security issues. The concept of charismatic animals must be explained here. Generally, charismatic animals are large vertebrates that are known to everyone, including children, and that evoke emotions such as beauty, strength, and cuteness. Typical charismatic animals are like elephants, tiger, wolf, shark, and whales. Charismatic animals are also associated with the image of being endangered and therefore must be protected, even though they are not actually endangered, as is the case with some species of whales. This graph on the slide shows the number of academic papers that refers to charisma in the field of conservation biology. This is taken from one academic paper published in 2013. As you can see, academic papers referring to charismas or charismatic animals or iconic animals has been steadily increasing for the last 10 or 15 years. So it is clear that there are attentions and also interest about the concept of a charismatic or iconic animals. I got this photo from one of my friends from Iceland. And this shows the interesting comparison between iconic animals and food animals. The question is, if cows lead a life like this alongside with dolphins, do you think that cows should be a charismatic animal? This is an interesting question to ask. There are different ways to see the relationship between humans and nature. In the debate over the whaling issue, it has been pointed out that the anti-whaling arguments are based on the idea that humans and nature are separate beings, a viewpoint looking at the nature from the outside. We have to, or under this concept, we have to restrict or ban whaling because humans outside the nature threaten the nature, another existence, through hunting and development. Western countries, predominantly anti-whaling, viewed nature as something to be exploited, conquered, and modified, resulting in environmental destruction. The fact remains that nature is viewed as something that humankind is confronted with under this scenario or under this history. Both environmental protection and destructions are based on the perspective of nature as the other being, separate from humans. Both protection and destructions are transitive ideas in that sense. On the other hand, the view of nature on the part of countries that support sustainable use, including Japan, is oftentimes based on their history and views of nature and some religious beliefs. For example, based on animism or the concept of a reincarnation. When we Japanese and other primitive peoples take animals as providers of food, fur, or other materials, we are grateful that the animals have given their lives for us. From anti-whaling worldview, this may seem like a strange custom. It seems a contradiction between taking a life of an animal and being thankful for that animal. In many countries that support sustainable use, nature is not another being. Nature is not separate from human being. Not an object to be destroyed or protected based on our decisions, based on our human decisions as a separate being. Nature is a vessel in which we are contained, and human activities and existence and natures are not opposed to each other, but one and the same. Like us, Japanese, we built graves, we record the name of whales that was hunted and given their life to us. This is our history, and this is our way of looking at the lives, including whales. Whaling debate is oftentimes also seen as a symbol of a tension between globalism and localism. It is said that anti-whaling view is global opinion, while the utilization of whales and marine mammals are limited local culture or local activities. However, are there any right for the so-called majority to force their way of looking at animals their way of understanding the nature and the humans on others only because it's a local custom. What is a globalism? Is that the coercion or on other people or ignorance of diversity of culture, history, and nature? Whaling issue or marine mammal as a food or icon also symbolize this issue between global way of looking at things and local way of life. Not a few people see religious, especially monotheistic elements in the claims made mainly by the advanced Western countries on the whaling and environmental issues. This is an approach that sees a conflict between good and evil in the problem and applies the structure of monotheism, in which there is only one God, therefore only one truth and justice. That is applies to the environmental issues, including whaling issue. In the whaling issue, the recognition and assertions are that whaling is not a matter of a science or law, but it's ethically evil for the eyes of anti-whaling people, and that opposing whaling for them is just the right thing to do. In this recognition, it is difficult to come up with the idea of seeking compromise through negotiation, like at the International Whaling Commission, by accepting the differences of positions regarding whales and whaling. Environmental issues, including whaling issue in general, are dominated by arguments and claims that the choice between environmental protection and human economic or social activities. The argument is that in order to protect the nature and the environment, something, in this case human activities, must be sacrificed. This dichotomic characterization of a problem is connected to a worldview that establishes a boundary between humans and nature and views nature as the other, different from humans. So the choice is only to take one or the other. But in the viewpoint, mainly by sustainable use nations and countries, nature and humans are one thing in the same vessel. So there is very different views to see some solution out of this situation. All the issues I touched upon today very briefly, like historic differences, the way we see the nature and the humans, the way we see the relation between human and animals, or to view the world either evil or good, these are big issues to discuss. And I will not pretend I can give you any answers out of this description. However, I just wrote a longer article on this subject, which is just uploaded in the site you are seeing on the slide. The name of the site is Whaling Today, and revisiting the roots of a whaling issue, sustainable use, environmental protections. This is the title of my article. There are two parts. So if you had some interest in my presentation, please try to find those two articles on this Whaling Today site so that you can see a little bit more detail in my presentation. Also, this NAMMCO's event is an opportunity for us to look at marine mammals as a food. So I'd like to encourage you to look at this interesting site. This is actually about the whale meat cooking manual compiled by Mr. Shimizu in Japan, and you can find beautiful pictures and the way to cook the whale meat in Japanese way, also in a more modern way. I hope you can enjoy it. Finally, I put two academic references on the slide for those who are interested or who become interested about charismatic animals or iconic animals, and for those who like to see more information about the very wide utilization of marine mammals across the world. I hope you will be interested in those two papers. Again, finally, thank you so much for this opportunity to make my short presentation, and I hope my presentation is of some contribution to this NAMMCO's event. Thank you so much.